I got a little bit of an open letter question for my viewers. My question is, where did you learn to hold prejudices against people? I know that sounds bizarre, but let me explain why I asked this question. Because as an adjunct professor, and I've also done some private tutoring, and I have colleagues who are older than me, so I see a lot of people from all ages. And the people who are youngest are the most innocent of all this. They never hold prejudices. So one of my tutoring clients, I had a funny story with her actually. I think she's 10, 11 years old. And she learned that I don't eat refined white sugar. Right? One day she was asking me about what my favorite candy bar was. I learned that there's a left Twix and a right Twix. And see, I still don't know what the difference between them is because I would never touch that stuff, so I didn't even bother to look at it. And she asked me if I prefer left or right, and it was the moment of truth. I had to tell her that I didn't have to tell her, but I thought it was safe enough to tell her. And at first she was very surprised. And she asked me how long I had avoided sugar, and I told her longer than she had been alive. And she was very surprised by that. Now, fast forward 3 months later, one day after the lesson, her mom had come into the tutoring center very upset at me. Her mom had said that her daughter had been watching food labels trying to avoid sugar and claiming that I had taught her to do that. And her mom was upset. I couldn't see the reason for being upset. I mean, she was still eating a healthy amount of food, and I don't think she had quit sugar altogether, but she was more conscious about it. That's the kind of thing I would want my children to be doing. But somehow, see, she's 10 years old, her mom might be, 35, 40 years old. Somewhere between 10 and 35, people learn to hold prejudices against everybody else who doesn't eat in a mainstream way, for some bizarre reason, right? I had another student, a boy this time, he's 12 years old, and one day, in the middle of the lesson, we were talking about, I can't remember, we were talking about what a family tree looks like, right? A little bit of graph theory kind of stuff. And he happened to ask me if I was married. And I said, well, yeah, we could draw my family tree because I'm happily married to myself. And I haven't really thought about it yet, but one day I may think about adopting children or have surrogate children and all that, right? And so he drew it without even asking a question about being happily married to oneself. He just accepted that at face value, right? You would never go up to somebody in their 20s and 30s and say that without a lot of questions, right? And so somewhere in between your early teens and your late 20s, somewhere in there into your 30s, we learn to hold prejudices, right? Also at the tutoring center, I should mention, we have people of all races, right? Here in Mercer Island, we got a lot of Asians, but we also have, we have quite a number of African Americans. We have a lot of Middle Eastern people. They all seem to get along until you get to your late teens, and then you start to segregate. Right? So somewhere in the early to mid teens, kids learn to segregate from their races for some reason, right? So my open letter question is, where'd you learn? Where'd you learn to hold biases for somebody just because of what they eat, who they love, their religion, among other problems, or not problems, but among other differences, right? And not learn to problem solve some of these things, right? And actually learn to eat healthy, right? Thanks for watching.